Hello, YouTubers. Here we are on the 18th day of November, 2016. It's Friday. I got news for you. All kinds of stuff going on here. So we'll just hop right on into it. What I have for you is off of CNN Politics. U.S. intelligence official, I submitted my resignation. And we'll get this to scroll up here a little bit so I can read it to you. Well, now it scrolled a little too far. Let's have a happy medium. Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, Committee on Intelligence Thursday, did his letter of resignation on Wednesday night. I did my letter of resignation last night, which felt pretty good, he said, before the panel of lawmakers in response to the top Democrat on the panel joking around for another 4 years. Days left, and I have, or try that again. I have 64 days left, and I'd have a pretty hard time with my wife going past that, Clapper told California Representative Adam Schiff. So, Clapper's service opened. All members of the administration must submit a letter at some point. Clapper's announcement wasn't a surprise to those around him and was expected at the end of his term. 4 months. Try that again. 4 months. The intelligence director has been updating those around him on his own personal countdown clock, telling them exactly how many days he has left until retirement. He signed his letter as required by all appointed officials, but his term, said spokesperson from the Office of Director National Intelligence. The Office of Director of National Intelligence announced via Twitter that the resignation will be effective at noon on January the 20th. That's Inauguration Day. This article goes on and says U.S. faces, hold still, it keeps jumping around here on me. Hold still long enough for me to read it. Faces most challenges now. Clapper's announcement comes as President-elect Donald Trump's transition team to hammer out the lead and set the tone for national security agencies during his administration. Warner, the Virginia Democrat and incoming vice chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, said Clapper's announcement need for new administration to move expeditiously in making key national security appointments. As continues, Warner said in a statement, I hope we'll seek out personnel that embody the same experience, purpose to country that have been a hallmark of James Clapper's career. Trying to get it to move. Here we go. Barack Obama, let's see, that'd be the caption on this picture here. It says Barack Obama sworn in as the 44th President of the United States on January the 20th, 2009. His wife Michelle holding the Bible as he office, and they are joined by their daughters. Now, I never could say that. Malia, I guess it is, and Sasha. An estimated 1.5 million people attend the inauguration as Obama became the nation's first African-American president. Picture of that's in there. URLs are in the description of the video, like all my videos. So anything on them or see any of the links or any of the videos on them, do so. It says, while Clapper's job is focused and security politics, Thursday's hearing when he was asked whether he had any concerns about FBI Director James Comey's announcement late in the presidential election campaign that his agency was reopening the investigation into Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton's use of email while at the State Department. Democratic Joaquin Castro described Comey's act as an unprecedented intrusion by a director within our own intelligence community process, and asked Clapper that Director Comey protocol. And he replies, I have no reason to question Director Comey. I think extremely highly of him, so whatever actions he took, what he felt was best, and I have no basis for questioning him. That years of military and intelligence work, he has never seen challenges facing the U.S. as he does today. So here, if you would like to, it says our nation is facing the most diverse that I've seen, he told the committee Thursday. Clapper was asked which threats will be of most concern to the U.S. in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm hesitant to pick one, he said. Clapper listed the challenges posed by nation states like Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran, as well as transitional threats like terrorism, proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, which is personally growing concern for me, he said, and the challenges posed dimension. Clapper also said that attacks like the June attack on Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida was among issues that concern him. I will leave this job concerned about impact of so-called and homegrown violent extremism, Clapper said. That is a very complex problem. Song talks about Clapper's early career and that sort of thing if you want to read the rest of that at your leisure. Next article I have is off of bizpackreview.com. And I'm waiting for it to roll up here on the screen. Getting all this stuff lined up for me. So let's see. Get the ads closed off of it so that I can read the doggone thing. VA whistleblower quits in disgust. Role with the new Trump administration. To move up on the screen a little bit. Hamster's heart tonight. It's only got 3 legs, you know. Well, he's a bit handicapped. Okay, here it goes. Brian Smothers, the Department of Veterans Affairs VA employee in Colorado, resigned after alleging serious retaliation in the wake of his disclosure of unauthorized wait lists. Wednesday, the VA tried to bully him into admitting a statement that he violated the rules when he went public with his concerns about mental health wait lists. The Associated Press reports, according to Smothers, who worked on PTSD support team in Denver, various VA facilities in Colorado have placed patients on unauthorized wait lists for mental health since 2012 until September 2015. Smothers said was to hide how long veterans were actually waiting for care, a theme so familiar in VA scandals around the country. At ground zero of the wait list scandal, staff have been caught manipulating wait lists, and the practice may still be ongoing. God, it was totally unacceptable to me, Smothers said, that the incoming administration of President-elect Donald Trump fires people. Veterans were on the list or how long they had to wait for care. Back in September, Smothers decided to bring the problem to the attention of the GOP Ron Johnson and Cory Gardner. Consequently examined whether Smothers' disclosures department rules, but found he was clean. Smothers posed on Amazon as an ebook. The VA opened a second investigation, which was still open at the time of his resignation. In a socially isolated office with no computer, any important duties were stripped away. So bad was that retaliation that Smothers figured the best option was to resign rather than continue at the VA. What he did on Tuesday. Article that we have, hill.com, and this says, Yellen says, I'm not resigning. Chairwoman Janet Yellen has no plans to resign following the election of Donald Trump. Yellen told lawmakers Thursday that she was very intention of completing her term as head of the central bank, which expires more than a year into Trump's tenure as president. My intention to serve out that term, she told the Joint Economic Committee. Yellen became the first woman to lead the Fed in 2014 and was appointed to a 4-year term that expires at the end of January 2018. In that role could lead to some tension between the Fed and the incoming Trump administration. During the presidential debates, Trump explicitly accused Yellen of steering to benefit President Obama politically without any substantive weighty one, given that the Fed fiercely protects its reputation as above partisan politics. Janet Yellen is highly political and she's not raising rates for a very specific reason, because Obama told her not to. In the first presidential debate, he doesn't want to see a big bubble burst during his administration. He claims came after earlier remarks in which Trump offered support for a low interest rate policy, a seeming contradiction to his later attacks. And other Fed officials have repeatedly dismissed any claims they act with politics in mind. Regardless of Yellen's status, Trump will have the opportunity to make his mark on the Fed. Currently, 2 spots open on the Federal Reserve Board, as well as a third federal position, the Vice Chair of Supervision, that is in charge of Fed's regulatory activities. There you have that. Right now, too. He's stacking silver. Interestingly enough, I don't know. I don't have an article on it. I wish I did. Over in India, and pretty much worthless over there. They've also had. I saw a news story or yesterday morning about gold prices going through the roof over there. Curiosity, I checked the price of silver and $17 an ounce here, and over there, rupees to was $600 an ounce. Shows you what happens when an economic collapse happens. Well, I have for you is off of the dailymail.co.uk, and it says, my life goal is to assassinate Trump. Ohio man is first to be charged in election night tweet. On election night, hundreds of people tweeted about assassinating Trump. Zachary Benson, age 24, from Cleveland, Ohio, is the first to be charged. He told a Secret Service agent he had been frustrated. It. A man from Ohio has been charged in a federal court after tweeting a threat president-elect election night. Zachary Benson, Park in Cleveland, posted the remark on Twitter a few minutes before the Republican nominee was declared winner of last week's election. Life's goal is to assassinate Trump. Don't care if I serve. That man deserves peace existing. Earlier, he tweeted, "Diplomacy, effing fools. I want to bomb every one of your voting booths in your general areas." arrested a few hours later in Secret Service. Were announced. Many who opposed Trump's rushed to Twitter to call for his assassination, but Benson is believed to be the first person to be charged in connection with one of those tweets. The Cleveland Plain Dealer reported that Benson told Secret Service agents he spent election night drinking and restaurant with his father and a friend. Back home and was watching the election results on TV in his bedroom when he tweeted the remarks. Benson said he had no intention of following through with the threat and was just frustrated thinking about how President-elect Trump's policies could affect his job. He did the tweets when he woke up in the morning, but the Secret Service had already been tipped off about them. We can get it to scroll up a little bit here. Now that's a little too much, like a happy medium. Hamster. But now he has been charged with making a threat to successor to the presidency. Benson appearance in court yesterday and is thought to be in custody pending bail hearing. County, which includes Cleveland, Clinton over Trump by a margin of 66% to 33%, but Ohio overall went for Trump by 9 points. There's that. Yes, it is against the law to threaten an elect, is it? Maybe. If we can get this one to come up. Okay. Hillary reemerges looking like death warmed up. Hillary Clinton reemerged publicly for the first time since her concession speech, looking like death warmed up to the conspiracy theorists who questioned her health cycle. And this is off of ad.com. Or no, conservativeread.com. I can't read these little tiny letters in the toolbar. Okay. Hillary gave a speech at gala for Children's Defense Fund, which is somewhat ironic given that she once laughed about defending a child rapist who she knew was guilty. However, some of the people in attendance might have thought they'd accidentally stumbled onto the set of a remake of Dawn of the Dead and that Hillary was one of the extras. And exhausted with huge bags under her bloodshot eyes. The Daily Mail was a little more polite, reporting that Hillary was weary looking. And they got a picture of her, and she does look like hell. That's odd given that she just had a week off and spent most of her presidential campaign sleeping or out AWOL. For now, I wonder if she's wearing some sort of prosthesis on her face in combination with buckets of paint to make herself appear human, remarked Chris. Hillary isn't going to make it to see Trump inaugurated, one Twitter user joked. Her dreadful appearance once again violates concerns voiced by what the media called conspiracy theorists throughout her failed campaign that Hillary was in ill health following a number of falls, stumbles, and other bizarre behavior. Coming here tonight wasn't easy, commented Clinton during her speech. Yes, Hillary, it must have been difficult to drag yourself out of your sick bed. Video here if you would like to take a look at the video of her speech. The next one that we have for you of Liberty News says breaking. Well, it's not breaking for us anymore, but I'm reading what it says here. Giuliani, the best news of his entire life. Giuliani is top contender for Secretary of State and is supposed to be the first pick for Secretary of State under Trump. Giuliani stuck with Trump from the beginning. Mayor was floated atop as New York mayor was floated as a top candidate for U.S. Attorney General ahead of Trump's unanticipated victory, and now the Associated Press is saying that he was going to foreign relations. If you want to watch it, Juliana says pick UN Ambassador John Bolton as another good candidate for Secretary of State position. He said that he would much rather take over as the Attorney General position. There's probably no one that knows the Justice Department better than me, Giuliani told CNN's Chris Como. agree more. What do you think Rudy Giuliani should be in Trump's presidency? It asks. There you have that, and there's more to the article if you want to page through it and read more, but highlights of it. So I don't know if I'm too thrilled about Giuliani being in there. If Trump is going to the investigation into 9/11, then interesting to see what happens with Giuliani, because this all turns out the way it would turn out on an investigation. Giuliani should be, most anybody else, being the mayor, he had to have been in on it. So where it goes. The next one's off bizpackreview.com. It says President-elect Trump may not be allowed to use Oval Office for the first year. President Obama's penchant for passing the buck may keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office for the first year of his presidency. Obama apparently refused to renovate the Oval Office and instead wanted the next president to pick up the slack. Is that for the first year of his time in office, President Trump will not have the Oval Office. George W. Bush advisor Karl Rove News. Rove said Secret urged Obama to update security on the Oval Office, but Obama refused. Obama could have told Secret Service, I know you want to modernize the Oval Office with security enhancements, literally strip it down to the bare walls and build it back up. Bulletproof glass security arrangements in it in office, but instead he said, with whomever comes next. Planning is Trump will spend most of his first year using Richard Nixon's old office in the old executive office building across Executive Drive and up the Navy steps. It's unclear why Obama put off the security renovation, since he completely redecorated the Oval Office in 2010 to adorn it with plush sofa cushions and paper. Trump will definitely need security, since he has received countless death threats from anonymous morons online. Earlier this week, CEO with the CIA threatened to assassinate Trump with a sniper rifle. The CEO of San Diego cybersecurity from to kill Trump at the White House in a series of deranged Facebook posts resigned. And there's an update to this. It says the White House official denied Karl Rove's claims, telling the Daily Mail on Thursday afternoon that renovations won't keep Trump from being able to work in the Oval Office. He had previously acknowledged there's a number of security enhancements being made to the White House campus on an ongoing basis. We cannot comment on the particulars of those measures impede President-elect Trump's ability to work out of the Oval Office presidency. Have that article, although I'm sure it will probably be a bit of an inconvenience for, but he's going to be so busy, I don't think he'll probably be spending a whole lot of time in the Oval Office since Obama's left such a mess for him to try to clean up. Is off of bizpackreview.com. Questions is all it takes for Tucker Carlson to destroy anti-Trump students' immigration logic. Were all it took for Fox News host Tucker Carlson to destroy the liberal logic of a Rutgers University student's demand for open borders and unfettered immigration. In this, if you'd like to watch the clip, and it says Rutgers is the latest in a growing number of universities declaring themselves to be sanctuary campuses that will protect the privacy of students who are undocumented immigrants, according to 101.5. Trump professor Alex appeared on the third edition of the Tucker Carlson Tonight and said that everyone should have the right to enter and stay in the United States because we are, always have been, and still are a nation of immigrants. He told Carlson, American immigration amounts to abandoning our heritage. That taxpayers have a moral obligation to subsidize anyone who wants to come here, Carlson asked. Question data indicating that immigrants are a net financial drain on society, and that he wanted to keep the discussion on Trump's human rights violations by deporting all the nation's 11 million undocumented immigrants. And brought him back to reality. Do you believe to lock their doors? He asked. When Miscue had trouble addressing that question, Carlson hit him with another reality that big business actually favors illegal immigration because of cheap labor it provided. Carlson said, do you realize that you're part of that reality? And Miscue denied that he was an ally to big business. It surprised you to know that your side with bringing in the low wage labor. It benefits them too. And it bites the dust. Next article I have for you is off of conservativetribune.com. Breaking news. Head of immigration team, illegals, liberals are horrified. The architect of Arizona's SB 1070, considered strictest anti-illegal immigration law passed in recent history, has been tapped to provide consultation to President-elect Donald Trump's transition team, and both illegal immigrants and their liberal supporters were horrified. I'm a member of the immigration policy transition team, and there's going to be a lot to do there, in part because Mr. Trump and Mr. Obama are opposites when it comes to immigration policy. So there will be a lot of changes, Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach told Wichita news station WCH last week. This was horrifying news for illegal immigrants, but it's a breath of fresh air for die-hard patriots who believe in national sovereignty and rule of law. Immigration hardliner Kobach reportedly has no patience for deportations and/or amnesty. According to the Washington Post, he has helped shepherd dozens of restrictive illegal immigration measures at the state and local levels across the country, and is known for his affiliation with the Immigration Reform Law Institute. Moreover, he has opposed all efforts to hand illegal immigrants amnesty and reportedly played a role in the lawsuits filed years ago challenging President Barack Obama's executive action on illegal immigration. Play any games about his fierce beliefs, and as a result, liberals were in a tizzy, whining over his alleged extremist views, with the leftists at the Daily Cost so far as to accuse him of having authorized America's racist law. There was nothing remotely racist about SB 1070, which did nothing more than grant police officers the right to question a suspect's immigration status. Many illegal immigrants were hiding out in Arizona. The law seemed plenty fair. Is that Kobach is neither a racist nor an extremist. He's a man who believes in the law, namely the law that says it's illegal and thus a criminal act for a foreign citizen to cross over into America without proper permission. Nothing less. The next article that we have for you is off of BizPac Review. Rutgers professor carted off by cops to psych ward after raging anti-Trump meltdown. The professor became so upset about Donald Trump's election victory that police took him in for psychological evaluation. New Jersey authorities announced on Wednesday. He is a women's and gender studies professor and the creator of Beyonce, and given his specialty, it was unsurprising that he wasn't happy that Trump won, but already began to go off the rails on Twitter, tweeting his desire to kill white people. Amendment B is cool when I buy a gun and start shooting at random white people, or no? He asked on Twitter November 10th. Police showed up at his house to check up on him and then carting him off to Bellevue Hospital in New York City for a 2-hour psychological evaluation. came to my house because Rutgers police told them I'm based on political statements. And on Twitter, Allred said in a series of Twitter posts Tuesday night. They forced me to now undergo a psychiatric evaluation at the hospital. They brought me by ambulance, though I am not under arrest technically. The encounter hardly its irate condition. This is for my effing First Amendment rights. I'm being labeled as a threat and put in a psych hospital. Even though Trump is not yet president, Allred says his police encounter was proof positive that Trump's crackdown on free speech has already begun. He's argued his shooting random white people was not a threat because it was merely a rhetorical question rather than a statement of intent. Rutgers spokesman E.J. Miranda released a statement Wednesday saying Rutgers police simply responded to a complaint about Allred's statements and appropriate action. You just don't go around threatening to kill people. Lord have mercy. What's wrong with folks? This one is off of AL.com. Alabama 8th grader paddled Trump on the blackboard, parents say. 8th grade Childersburg boy said his son was paddled at school for writing Trump on the blackboard, and he's livid. I don't think you ought to be punished for writing the president's name, told AL.com. Yeah, I'm pretty mad. The incident happened Thursday at Childersburg. This was written on the Talladega County Schools discipline referral form sent home with the student. Told on yesterday because of the sensitivity of the matter not to discuss the election unless it was in history class. They were told any discussion would result in referral. The student decided to write Trump on my board this morning, disregarding others' room. This resulted in some upset students that the name and the other candidate wasn't the issue, but it was the nature of everything behind it. Reform reflected the following actions: conference with pupil and corporal punishment. To reach Childersburg Middle School officials for comment Friday and Monday were unsuccessful. The coordinator for secondary programs for Talladega schools couldn't comment specifically on disciplinary action against any student, but said, I can say with 100% accuracy no student would ever be disciplined based on their political beliefs. A situation in our school system where the student would be disciplined because of their support of a political candidate. Tuscaloosa City Schools received a number of complaints after a high school math teacher image of Donald Trump firing President Barack Obama or in his classroom on Wednesday. In Childersburg, Stephenson said the school called him and told him what happened. If he'd rather his 14-year-old get paddled or spend the day in suspension. I said I didn't think they should be punished at all, Stephenson said. They said it caused a disruption. He told the school his wife was on her way, but if they couldn't wait for her to arrive, they should let his son make the decision. I told him I don't want you to do anything, he said. His wife arrived. The young teen had already been paddled by Assistant Principal Chad Bynum, Stephenson said. Alabama is one of just 15 states with state law that explicitly allows for corporal punishment, and other states specifically ban the practice. Leading up to November 8th election, Stephenson said the student had been given homework assignments to watch election coverage and study the process. It's only natural, he said, that the student would continue those discussions. Results came in. And then when the candidate you wanted to win didn't win, you want it hush hush, he said. That's what it looks like to me. a school official Monday morning who told him his son was paddled not because he wrote Trump on the board, but because he wrote anything on the board at all. Stephenson has contacted a lawyer and they are deciding what to do next. In the meantime, he said, he has instructed his son to avoid all political discussions at school. What they've done is give them a gag order. That's against the First Amendment, and I just don't understand, he said. It just seems drastic to me. Scott Morrow said Bynum and the Talladega County School Board are sending the wrong message. The presidential election had been discussed for months in class. The election results and their ramifications should have been discussed as well. What a perfect time to teach, Morrow said. Instead, the students were banned from discussing it. The students shouldn't ignore the rules or instructions, but those same rules and instructions shouldn't stifle free speech, he said. They have equated writing Trump on a blackboard to yelling fire in a crowded theater. Corporal punishment without the parent's permission in this case is unreasonable. Still gathering evidence and will determine what action to take in the future. The family hopes that they bring this incident to the forefront, that the Talladega School Board will think before they act. Example of why you should homeschool your children. Here's off of CBSNews.com, and it says huge anti-Obama protest met with tear gas and grenades. And this is in Greece. He's over in Greece right now. They are having them a fit over there. Athens, Greece. Used tear gas and stun grenades Tuesday in Athens to disperse about 3,000 left-wing marchers protesting a visit by President Obama after they tried to enter an area off limits to demonstrators. Police made at least 4 arrests and said one woman was slightly injured in the clashes, which took place far from Mr. Obama's meetings. The violence broke out as youths in motorcycle helmets and gas masks, armed with wooden clubs and tried to break a police the barrier formed by police buses. Riders pulled back to the Athens University complex site of 1973 student uprising and engaged in running with police throwing dozens of petrol bombs. Left-wing and anarchist groups who organized the protest had planned to reach U.S. Embassy in Athens, but authorities banned demonstrations in a large swath of the city to that protesters came nowhere near Mr. Obama, who was attending a dinner at the residence of Greek President Prokopis Populous. And you should take a drink right now if you're playing the drinking game, because I'm sure I butchered that all to the dickens. CBS News correspondent Margaret Brennan that the protests unfolded. Mr. Obama praised Greece as the birthplace of democracy, but warned that there's a dark side to the type of populist movement led by President-elect Donald Trump. To guard against a rise in crude nationalism or ethnic identity that is built around an us and them, said. The fast-paced social changes has alienated people, he said, and leaders like Trump have tapped into that anger. Course correction in the West to ensure that all members of society benefit from the advances in technology and globalization. Mr. Obama said societies that managed to foster greater equality were less likely to turn on each other, less likely to appeal to some of the darker forces. About 5,000 Communist Party supporters took part in a separate peaceful protest. Meanwhile, in central 1,000 people protested in Greece's second largest city, Konkai, I guess. I don't know. Communist Party leader Demetrius, here's one, and I'm sure that's butchered, take another drink, described Mr. Obama's visit as a provocation. Oh, the U.S. is a state that causes military coups, interventions, and imperialist wars from the Ukraine to the Eastern Mediterranean in the Middle East, North Africa, Asia, and Latin America, he told supporters. Placed Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, and I bet I butchered that too, take another drink, left-wing Syria's party in an uncomfortable position, formerly a key participant in anti-American and anti-austerity protests. I can't read either. Maybe we need to include that in the drinking game. It is now using the same crowd control measures it used to strongly deplore a strong anti-American tradition among Greek left-wingers who still recent U.S. support for Greece's 7 through 74 military dictatorship. Mr. Obama's visit comes just 2 days before annual anti-American demonstrations, which bloody suppression by military authorities, pro-democracy uprising. The small Popular Unity Party, which took part in the main protest Tuesday, described Obama's visit as provocation. Party leader, oh Lord, I'll never pronounce this one, Panayotis Lab, I'm gonna guess, take a drink, also blamed the U.S. for Greece's economic woes. The debt-crippled country depends on international bailout loans and has been forced by creditors to implement deep income cuts, and economic reforms. Imperialism has not changed, said on Tuesday. The U.S. president and administrations have played and still play leading part in bailout-linked plundering of our country, and their interventions are drowning our part of the world in blood and creating refugee waves. To Greece by U.S. president was by Bill Clinton in 1999, which was also marred by clashes between anarchist and riot police. Lord have mercy, we got through that one, didn't we? By the end of this broadcast, you'll think it's all good news. The next one we have is off the Washington Post. Stephen Hawking just gave humanity a due date for finding another planet. He survives the rise of artificial intelligence, the ravages of climate change, and the threat of nuclear terror the next century. It doesn't mean we're home free, according to Stephen Hawking. The renowned theoretical has gone as far as providing humanity with a deadline for finding another planet to colonize. We have 1,000 years. Earth any longer, Hawking believes, places humanity in a great risk of encountering another mass extinction. We must continue to go into space for the future of humanity, the 74-year-old Cambridge professor said during a speech Tuesday at Oxford University Union, according to the Daily Express. I don't think we will survive another 1,000 years without escaping beyond our fragile planet, he added. Hour-long speech, Hawking told the audience that Earth's cataclysmic end may be hastened by humankind, which will continue to devour the planet's resources at unsustainable rates, the Express reported. Hawking touched upon the origins of the universe and Einstein's theory of relativity, as well as humanity's creation myths and God. Hawking also discussed, which Leon Borston of physicsworld.com explains as proposal for unified quantum theory of fundamental and forces of nature. Though the challenge ahead are immense, Hawking said, it is a glorious time to be alive and doing research into theoretical physics. Our picture of the universe deal in the last 50 years, and I'm happy if I have made a small contribution, he added. To an audience, or speaking to audience members in the public Q&A session ahead of the annual BBC Wreath Lectures, Hawking also said that leaving the planet behind was our best hope for survival. The key, he noted, was surviving the precarious century ahead. Although the chance of disaster to planet Earth may be quite low, it adds up over time and becomes near certainty in the next thousand years. By that time, we should have spread out into space and to other stars. Disaster on Earth would not mean the end of the human race. Since 2009, NASA has been hunting for Earth-like planets potential for human colonization. Researchers have discovered more than 4,600 and another 2,300 or so confirmed planets, according to the agency. The first orbiting around, or try that again, the first exoplanet orbiting another star like our sun was discovered in 1995, according to NASA. Exoplanets, especially small Earth-sized worlds, belonged within the realm of science fiction just 21 years ago. Today, and thousands of discoveries later, astronomers are on the cusp of finding some dreamt about for thousands of years. Before we have a chance to relocate, Hawking says, we'll first need to solve the potential threat created by technology. Technology has the capacity to ensure mankind's survival. Previous statements suggest that the cosmologist is try that again. Cosmologist grappling with potential threats it poses. When it comes to discussing that threat, Hawking is unmistakably blunt. I think the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race, Hawking told the BBC in 2014 interview that touched upon everything from online privacy to his affinity for a robotic-sounding voice. Despite its current usefulness, he cautioned, further developing AI could prove a fatal mistake. Once humans intelligence, it will take off on its own and redesign itself at an ever-increasing rate. Hawking warned in recent months, humans who are limited by slow biological evolution and would be. So there you have that information. We have is off of foxnews.com, and it says, walking may improve sleep. Lung cancer patients could improve their sleep and quality of life by walking several times a week, a study from Taiwan suggests. Those who participated in a 12-week home-based walking program had better sleep quality at both 3 and 6 months after the program. The results reinforce similar findings in breast and patients, researchers say. Walking is safe, feasible, and effective for patients. Just walk, said senior author China Chen Lin. Take another drink. A nursing professor at Taipei Medical University, Lin and colleagues have published several studies in recent years about links between physical activity, sleep, and quality of life in lung cancer patients. Lung cancer patients often experience sleep problems during and after treatment, Lin said, which can affect quality of life and cancer. With advances in lung cancer treatment, survival improved significantly, she told Rutgers Health by email. Any interventions that can improve symptoms and quality of life are valuable. Randomized controlled trial, Lin and colleagues studied 111 ranging in age from 30s to early 80s. Almost 2/3 had stage 1 cancer. Were divided into two groups, with one group of 56 patients advised to walk at a moderate intensity for about 40 minutes 3 times a week. These patients recorded their exercise after every session, participated in weekly exercise counseling sessions, and wore a wrist monitor that collected subjective and objective sleep data, such as total sleep time, sleep onset time, and sleep quality. The other 55 patients received medical care and an opportunity for exercise counseling after the study concluded. Traditionally, physical activities have not been emphasized in lung cancer patients due to concerns about fragility, cardiopulmonary function, Lin said. However, we found that home-based walking program may be safe and feasible way to improve emotion and sleep quality. The study also looked at circadian rhythms as body clock or rest activity rhythms. In this case, researchers measured how consistently patients woke and went to sleep at the same times each day. That exercise was linked to improved sleep quality. People whose circadian rhythms were most disrupted got the most benefit. These rhythms are believed to influence several aspects of health, such as heart rate, sleep, inflammation, and metabolism. Circadian function can increase risk for a number of chronic diseases, Lynn said. Clinicians have discovered that cancer patients with dismal prognosis, but who have intact them, live much longer than expected, said Jim Gutrich, epidemiology professor at the University of Illinois School of Public Health in Chicago, who also conducts cancer research on behalf of the Cancer Treatment Centers of America in Zion, Illinois. This study is the first randomized controlled trial that examines the long-term effects of walking programs on lung cancer patients by measuring data 6 months later, 90 days later. The study author writes in the British Journal of Cancer. One limitation of the study, however, is that it uses a home-based walking program, which can contain biased self-reported data from patients. Gutrich said by email, the study didn't measure at what point patients exercise during their cycle, which can affect health outcomes, he noted. Research focus on exercise and nutrition. We often forget sleep. Professor of nurse oncology at the University of Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha. In a book scheduled for release in December, Berger writes about the positive effect of exercise and sleep on cancer patients. Since 2000, the Oncology Nursing Society have looked at more ways to improve cancer patient outcomes through sleep, exercise, meditation, and behavioral therapy, Berger told Rutgers Health. This focus is a reflection on the survivorship movement with cancer patients, Berger said. Millions of cancer survivors stay healthy and prevent cancer reoccurrence and heart disease. U.S. lung cancer is the leading cancer killer of both men and women, according to the American Lung Association. In 2016, an estimated 225,000 new cases of lung cancer. So there you have that. It is important to your health. Is off of Breitbart.com. It says big oil. Feds call West Texas deposit largest in history. And I actually have two articles on this. This is the first one. So let's see what it says here. West oil and natural gas shale formation was labeled the largest of its kind by the U.S. Geological Survey on Tuesday. Announced that oil in Midland Basin portion of Texas, Permian Basin, now holds the record for most oil, natural gas, and gas liquid deposits that are undiscovered, technically recoverable resources. The USGS notes that within its surveys, north of Lubbock to remote regions southwest of San Angelo are estimated and previously unaccounted for 20 billion barrels of crude oil, in cubic feet of natural gas, and 1.6 billion barrels of natural gas liquids are available to be extracted by means typically involving slant drilling and hydraulic fracturing, commonly known as fracking. The figures are based on official methods that project untapped resources amid already surveyed and explained. And there's a map here if you want to take a look at the map on what all that entails there. And then this goes on with source from the USGS if you wanted to read all up on that. Article and see what it says here. This is off of businessinsider.com. It says the largest oil deposit ever found in America was just discovered in Texas. The U.S. Geological Survey said Tuesday that what could be the largest deposit of untapped oil ever discovered in America. An estimated average of 20 billion barrels of oil and 1.6 billion barrels of natural gas liquids are available for the taking. Camp Shale, which is the Midland portion of Texas Permian Basin, based on West Texas intermediate crude oil price of $45 per barrel. Those deposits are worth about $900 billion. Exploration companies have flocked to the super-rich Permian Basin in recent years and used shale drilling technology to create an oil boom that helped trigger a years ago. The count of active oil rigs fell with prices, but has risen over the past few months, mostly in the Permian. Bloomberg noted that the Wolf Camp, where this deposit was found, has been one of the primary targets of shale drillers. The fact that this is the largest assessment of continuous oil we've ever done just goes to show that even in the areas that have produced billions of barrels of oil, there is still potential to find billions more. Rob, I know I butchered that one. Take another drink. Program coordinator for the USGS Energy Resource Program said in a statement, more than 3,000 horizontal oil wells have already been drilled and completed in the Midland Basin Wolfcamp section, according to the USGS. Producers fracture or frack the earth below with high-pressure liquid mixture to untap oil and gas from shale rock. This map from the USGS shows the area where the deposit was found. So there again, map than what was in the other one. Pull that up and take a look at it. And let's see here. This next one that we have for you says it's off of CNN.com. Man dissolves, try that again. Man dissolves in acidic water after he falls into a Yellowstone hot spring. Trip to one of the nation's natural wonders ended in an unnatural tragedy. A 23-year-old Oregon man essentially dissolved inside a hot spring at Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming after he accidentally fell into it. The incident happened back in June when Colin Nathaniel Scott went to the park with his sister to find a place pot. According to a recently released report from park officials, Scott and his sister went to an unauthorized area near the Norris Geyser. They were specifically moving in that area for a place that they could potentially get into. Deputy Chief Ranger Laurent Perez told CNN affiliate KULR. I think they call it hot potting. Scott had reached down to check the temperature of the spring when he slipped and fell into it. Found Scott's body inside the pool but couldn't retrieve it because of a lightning storm in the area. When they came back the next day, no remains were found beneath the spring's churning acidic waters. In very short order, there was a significant amount, Brenda said. Geyser and springs are acidic because they are fed by thermal water deep underground that picks up sulfuric acid as it rises to the surface. The sulfuric acid is produced by microorganisms that break down hydrogen sulfide in rocks and soil. Scott's sister was recording on her cell phone when he fell in, but the Park Service won't release the video. the importance for park visitors to obey all warning signs because Yellowstone is wild and hasn't been overly altered by people to make things a whole lot safer. It's got dangers, he said. And a place like Yellowstone, which is set aside because of incredible geothermal resources that are here, so wow. I found that very interesting because I'd never heard of anything like that ever happening before. I've heard of hot springs, but I've never heard of one that'll dissolve a body, so it was worth the read. The next one I have for you is your feel good, and it's very short, but it's really sweet. I think you'll really enjoy it. So let me do a screen share here, up here on the screen for you to see and listen to. Of that was real sweet. I thought it was enjoy. It always helps to brighten somebody's day, cheer them up a little bit. And in case you just didn't catch on to that, the lady that was their teacher and her cat had passed away, and they brought her a couple kittens to cheer her up and give them to her. Always is nice to cheer somebody up. That's a little reminder to you. So this weekend, if you know somebody that's a little down in the dumps, maybe they're a little depressed or maybe some kind of a loss or some sort of a problem, whether it's a job loss or loss of a friend or a relative or pet or whatever, do a little something to cheer them up a little bit if you can. It'll do your heart good and it'll make them feel better too. So with that, we'll close her down for the day, and I hope it's beautiful where you are. I know some places are going to be experiencing some cold and snow and some hateful weather here over the weekend, but if you get an opportunity, at least go outside and get a breath of fresh air. Try to ground yourself if you can. If you can get your feet down in the grass, all the better. But soak up some earth energy and balance yourself a little bit, get some balance in your life. Take a deep breath of fresh air and be glad you woke up above ground. We'll see you later.